Hello, friends. Welcome to yet another session from Classics Audio on UGC NET JRF English. Today, we are going to discuss Anglo Norman poets and their works. With regard to Anglo Norman poetry, exactly you don't want to go deep into every aspects of Anglo Norman poets and their writers, but we should know that such and such writers were existed and they wrote such and such works. Okay, for today's session, we would first deal with two famous pieces of Anglo Norman poetry first: The Owl and the Nightingale, and also the Chaucer MUNDI. Then we would go and discuss some minor poets and their works. Though they are minor poets, we should know their names and the name of their works. Okay, let's start. So let's start from The Owl and the Nightingale. The Owl and the Nightingale is considered to be the first nature poem, and it is a popular English medieval poem written probably in the 13th century. So it's an English medieval poem. It takes the form of a spiritual dispute between two birds on the subject of the relative beauty and merit of their songs. It is composed of approximately 200 lines of verse in rhymed octosyllabic couplets. We have already defined what is an octosyllabic couplet in our previous classes, where each foot having 8 syllables. Couplet means successive lines of same meter and rhythm. Octosyllabic means it will have or it should have what 8 syllables in each line. Okay. The Owl and the Nightingale is also can be considered as an earliest example of Middle English literary form known as debate poetry. So this can be included as an example of debate poetry. Then there should be some debate, right? So the Nightingale is the one who opens the debate. So the debate is between the Nightingale and the Owl. So Nightingale opens the debate, chiding the owl as a creature of the night, a bird that loves the dark, and hence is evil. After the owl's successful retort, she accuses the latter of singing only of woo. So when Nightingale accuses owl as an omen of evil and dark, owl accuses Nightingale that Nightingale only sings songs of pain. The owl initially responds by suggesting that the dispute be settled according to the traditional show of force, a solution that the delicate Nightingale quickly dismisses. Instead, the Nightingale continues her attack, claiming the obvious superiority of her voice when matched against that of the owl. The owl, a bird fabled to possess extraordinary wisdom, realizes that she must now protect herself verbally. This she does by asserting the virtues of her own song, which she claims can move human beings to repentance and atonement for, in contrast to the nightingale's voice, a mere source of superficial pleasure. Since the debate leads to no solution, it is finally proposed that the bird's petition, the astute master Nicholas, who lives in nearby Portesham. So, finally, as the debate finds no solution, they submit their petition before this person called Nicholas, astute master Nicholas. The poem thus ends with the prospect of reconciliation. It combines the characteristics of parody, comedy, traditional beast fables, and popular verse satire. Now let's come to the second most important Anglo Norman poem called Cursa Mundi, or the Runner of the World. So, the meaning of the word or the title Cursa Mundi is Runner of the World. It is an anonymous Middle English poem. So, the writer remains anonymous, the writer remains unknown. It contains approximately 30,000 lines, and this poem relates the history of the world as recorded in the Old and New Testament of Bible. It is written in the form of this octosyllabic couplet or 8 syllable couplet. The poem begins with a prologue in which the poet provides the rationale behind his undertaking. So, what is his undertaking or what is his motive? Men desire to read old romances of Alexander, Julius Caesar, Greece, Troy, Brute, Arthur, all the characters that we have already discussed in our previous lectures. But better than tales of love is the story of the Virgin. He says that all men take delight in their paramours, but the best lady of all is the Virgin Mary. Whoever devotes himself to her finds true and lasting love. Therefore, the poet will compose a work in her honor. So, people are running behind these legends, I would say, right? We have King Arthur, we have Julius Caesar, we have romances of Alexander. But according to the author of Cursa Mundi, the best one to worship or the best one to love is none other than Virgin Mary. So he proposes to write a poem in praise of Virgin Mary. The poet purposes to tell about the old and the new law, the Trinity, the fall of the angels, the fall of Adam, Abraham, and the patriarchs, then of Christ coming, of his birth, and of the three kings, his public life, his passions, and crucifixion, then leads to resurrection. Now let's come to some minor Anglo Norman poets and their works. Let's start from Philip G. Thorne, and he is famous for two of his works. One is Livre des Creatures. I think the spelling is clear on the screen. Livre des Creatures, and it is a treatise on numbers in the calendar as well as in astronomy. So, this work is also called Comput. So the other title of this work is Comput. Why it is also called as Comput? It deals with numbers. Its focus is mainly on numbers in calendar as well as in astronomy. Then the second most important work by Philip T. Thorne is BESTIAIRE, and it is believed to be written in 1121, composed of approximately 1570 lines. It is a book of natural history, deals with the description of various animals. Then the next poet is Reginald of Canterbury, and he is a poet as well as a monk. And he is famous for his work, The Legend of Saint Malchus. It is written in 6 books approximately in 3,390 lines, and it deals with the life of Syrian hermit Saint Malchus. The next poet is Benoit de Saint Maur. He's a 12th century French poet patronized by King Henry II, and he is famous for his work Roman de Troie, or the Romance of Troy, which later served as a source for the most celebrated work of Geoffrey Chaucer, Troilus and CRISEYDE. So this romantic Troy served as a source for Chaucer's Troilus and CRISEYDE. Then he is also famous for another chronicle. The name is Chronique des Ducs du Normandy. It is written in 44,000 lines. It begins with the creation of the world and ends with the death of Henry I, King Henry I. Then the last one is Jordan Fansom, and he was an Italian by birth, and he is famous for his historical poem La Chronique de Jordan Fantasm, which can be translated as Chronicle of the War between the English and the Scots in 1173 and 1174. So I know the names of the works as well as the poets were a bit difficult to learn, memorize, but we should know such and such poets were existed and they have wrote such and such work, as I've already said. But you need to read more on the owl and the nightingale and also the cursor mundi. So this much for today's session. We'll meet soon with Anglo-Norman romances in the next session. Anglo-Norman romances will be a much bigger topic. It would consume more time. We have to look into Anglo-Norman romances a bit detailed because romances were a popular form of writing, or romance was a popular form of writing during that period. So till then, stay safe, stay healthy, be happy. Thank you.